Few things in life is better for your happiness than the best sausage roll you'll ever put in your mouth. Crispy yet soft and buttery pastry that shatters when you simply look at it. A juicy, properly spiced pork filling that stays juicy due to a little trick that almost everybody skips. Goes without saying, but we make the pastry ourselves. It's an easy to make rough puff, but not the same one as I use for my pepper steak pies. Same, but different. In this one we use grated frozen butter, which gives you a slightly different flake, but works beautifully for the pies too. So make a double batch for endless happy days. Video link down below for your easy enjoyment. Rough puff is the lazy man's puff pastry, and honestly the better one for this job. Same flake and a fraction of the stress. Into a bowl through a sieve goes 300 grams or 2.5 cups of plain or all-purpose flour. To that we add 6 grams or a teaspoon of fine salt and whisk it thoroughly so it evenly spreads. 250 grams or 2 sticks of frozen butter gets a grating on your granny's box grater. And obviously, to make it vegan, you would use chicken butter instead. The butter tends to steam in the oven and pushes the layers apart. That's our flaky goodness in a nutshell. Toss the butter through the flour with a fork or a pair of chopsticks. Not your hands, which are too warm for grated butter. It'll melt and tears will follow. Avoiding problems is easier than dealing with them later on. In goes 140 milliliters or a bit over half a cup of ice cold milk. Mix it just till the milk is taken up and no further. There is no need to knead this. In fact, you don't have permission to either. Tip it onto a slightly floured surface and press it together into a block. It'll look like a tiny little disaster, unmixed bits, streaks of butter and dry patches here and there, but it's all good. All of that becomes layers later. Wrap it in parchment and into the fridge for an hour to snoozy. Or overnight if you have the time. Or even the freezer in case you lost interest halfway through. Now the filling, and this is where a sausage roll is either remembered or forgotten like a random date in your 20s. And if you live in London, you simply buy Cumberland sausage mix and you're done. Everywhere else, we make our own. We start with whole spices because ground spice that's been sitting in your jar since the last time the Bokke didn't win a World Cup tastes of nothing and everything all at once. 4 grams or a heaped teaspoon of whole coriander seeds, 5 grams or a teaspoon of whole black peppercorns, 2 cloves and 3 blades of mace. Mace is the fancy jacket that grows around a nutmeg. Same thing, milder flavor. If you can't find it, 3/4 of a teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg does the job perfectly well. Toast the lot in a dry pan over medium heat. For a minute, just until they start to smell like something, and the coriander starts to pop. Remove them from the pan immediately, then grind it fine in a spice or coffee grinder. If you don't have one, a pestle and mortar and 2 minutes of familiar work will get you there in no time. Set that aside for a second. Then take 80 grams or a couple of slices of white bread, crusts off, and break it up into a bowl. Over that goes 125 milliliters or half a cup of whole milk. Let it sit for a few minutes until it's completely soft and the milk disappears but factually is still there. This is called a panade, and it's the reason your filling stays juicy, instead of shrinking into a dry little log inside a beautiful pastry. The bread holds onto a big amount of juice and fat that would otherwise simply cook out. A small step for a big result. It's important to not overdo it though, as it could make the meat a touch textureless, so a little shrinkage is okay as long as most of the juices get caught. Meanwhile, indiscriminately but finely, chop 180 grams or 1 large onion. Crush or mince 25 grams or about 6 cloves of garlic. Strip the blades off a few sprigs of rosemary and chop them fine. We need about 4 grams, which is a big pinch. Sage is also a winner sausage dinner. Heat a pan on medium with 20 grams or a tablespoon and a half of olive oil, or lard if you're feeling authentic. In goes the onion and garlic and salt it with 12 grams or 2 teaspoons of fine salt straight away. Salt pulls moisture out early, which keeps them blonde instead of going brown. which is okay. Caramelized onions is not a sin, but it brings a sweetness to this recipe that this recipe specifically doesn't aim to achieve. Add the rosemary and sweat it down until soft and fragrant. Tip it onto the soaked bread and add your ground spices. Mix it well and get it into the fridge to cool down completely before the meat goes in. Speaking of which, we need 800 grams or just under 2 pounds of pork mince, ground pork in the US. A minimum of 20% fat, and honestly, I go further, 70-30, sometimes even 60-40, purely to keep myself happy forever. Lean pork makes a sad sausage roll, and of course, to make it vegan, we use chicken mince instead. On the grind, fine is the norm, but not that pink paste you see in some recipes. That's overprocessed and will end in failure. I prefer a coarse grind with a little bit of texture left, but your life, your choice. Into the bowl it goes with your cooled bread, onion and spice mix. Mix it properly, then work it for a minute until it turns slightly tacky, but not so much that it starts to warm up. Now the average intelligence way of getting this into pastry is a piping bag. No nozzle, just the bag. If you don't have one, a strong ziplock with the corners snipped off does exactly the same thing. Press it all to the front to squeeze out the air pockets, then snip the tail and tie it up. And into the fridge while we deal with the pastry. Flour your work surface and let the dough come up in temperature for about 5 minutes. Fridge cold pastry cracks and doesn't obey any orders. Flour the dough lightly and roll it into a rectangle about 1/2 centimeter thick. Keep the corners squarish, not perfect. Now fold it in thirds, like a letter going into an envelope, which is quite rightly called a letter fold. Turn the dough 90 degrees, then roll it out again, and fold it again. And once more. 3 folds in total. Every fold multiplies your layers, and by the third one, the ugly block of earlier is turned into something laminated and genuinely beautiful. If at any point the butter starts smearing or the dough goes soft and sticky, just stop for a minute, put it in the fridge, let it chill down, and carry on after that. The rule is to be quick and cold about it. Cut the pastry in half for your convenience. Then wrap each piece in parchment paper and back into the fridge for about 15 minutes to chill. While that's doing its thing, we crack 1 egg into a bowl with a teaspoon of water. Whisk it well and then pass it through a little sieve to get rid of any snotty bits. A clean egg wash is what gives it that glass-like shine instead of dullness and streaks. Heat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And here's the important part. You put your baking tray in there too. It gets preheated with the oven because a cold tray means a pale, soggy bottom, and nobody wants that in any context. Also, you cut yourself a little stack of parchment squares. 1 per roll. It makes handling them a breeze later on. Flour your bench, the same one from before will do, and roll the pastry out 2 to 3 millimeters thin. Tidy up the sides and keep every scrap of trim in the fridge. We use that later for the decor, or you can use it for more sausage rolls. Snip your piping bag open to roughly as thick as you want the filling to be. Pipe a log of filling along the edge closest to you. Roll it over once, then brush egg wash onto the strip of pastry where the seam is going to land. You give yourself about 2 centimeters overlap and then roll it closed. Flip it round and then press the seam flat with the back of a knife to seal it properly. Now cut the log into whatever size makes you happy. Half is a proper snack. Quarters are those lose track of how many you ate size. Do not seal the open ends, just tidy them up a touch. They'll act as vents for steam to escape when we bake these. Onto one of your parchment squares and egg wash it all over. And into the fridge while you build the rest. Remember, things always need to stay cold around here. You never leave it all out on the bench, especially not in summer. Now for the optional but highly necessary decor, they sell these rolling net cutters, which in my experience don't work all that great actually, so we do it by hand. Roll out your chill trim nice and thin, big enough to cover a roll like a little blanket. With the tip of a knife, you make 2 centimeter cuts in a row. Then on the next row, start each cut halfway along where the neighboring cut was. Alternate all the way down. When you open it out, it stretches into a net. Take an egg wash roll, brush it slightly once more, then lay the net over the top and tuck the sides underneath. so every visible surface is covered. You egg wash it again and into the fridge it goes. Repeat until they're all done, and if you made small ones or the net feels like too much effort today, just mark a few patterns on top with the back of a knife or a couple of small cuts. Don't overdo it or overthink it. These freeze great, so make the full batch, freeze them on a tray, then thaw them in the fridge before baking later on. Anyway, onto your hot tray they go, parchment and all. Quickly, so it stays hot. Bake it at 200 degrees Celsius for 25 to 30 minutes, turning the tray halfway through. Color is of course a flavor, but rotate them so they brown evenly. They're done when they're deep and golden brown, properly shiny and looking back at you with hungry eyes. Onto a wire rack for a few minutes to rest, and also to let you rest. They should be crispy and golden on the bottoms. As promised, the whole thing juicy, buttery and naughty. Kind of thing that makes you wonder why you never made it yourself. But before you do any of that, go live a happy life.